Hi, I'm Tim, welcome to the Restoration Couple. Today's video is going to be a real fiddly one. It was all about building the nosing for the end of each tread. First job was to sand, well, to strip with the heat gun and strip off all of that old varnish, gloss paint, lead paint, all that horrible stuff that was on there back to the original wood. So with all that gone, sanded back, I obviously dust mask, I had extraction out to the shop back, which was outside, and it was just, I didn't want any of that dust in the house, really, that old paint. With all that gone, I then put a primer undercoat on there, and that's all that's on here now. And then we can now have a look at how we made these. The thickness of each tread is about 33-34 mil. And I just could not find any sort of bullnose edging that thick. A lot of the stair treads and windowsill stock are kind of 29 mil, so that wouldn't work. I couldn't get a bullnose bit for the router that size, it just seemed to be a bit too big, and the roundover bits I had didn't go to this radius. So that led me to just keep searching, and I ended up finding some windowsill material from B&Q, which is 33 mil, and it's not stocked anywhere other than one store in Bristol, and I happen to be passing it. So I'm hoping it's about half a mil thinner, so I think it's going to be fine. So this is like a laminated pine, and that's fine. I mean, the section we need will be all one piece anyway. So it's still cheaper to buy 2 lengths of this at £20 each or whatever it was than it is for me to go and buy a router bit big enough to create this bullnose. So what I wanted to do is cut these down, and then I end up with some nice flat pine stock to do shelving in the future. I've got all the spindles, they're all dry, but we can't do anything with them until we've kind of sanded and prepped the stairs. 34. Okay, so that's our stair nosing done. It's a pretty good match. The radius is a tiny bit different, but there's only a fraction of the new nosing that's actually right next to the old stuff, so we should be able to smooth that out. The next bit is a bit more challenging, and the next thing to do is to get this piece of trim which sits underneath the nosing on each tread. The problem is it's not just a normal radius, and nowhere that I can find gets me anywhere close to that with a router bit. The closest thing I could find was special order, and it was to use a raised panel bit, which would give me that, but they work out at £55 plus VAT, and I'm never going to need to do this again. So I had to think outside the box a bit, and then I thought, well, shiplap has a pretty similar profile. If you see that, it's got that really shallow sort of radius, which isn't a million miles off this. So I reckon it's a little bit different, but if we can trim back the front edge here and then we can trim it to size, this could be the answer. It's just going to need a little bit of work when it comes to sanding. And that is the last piece of the jigsaw, that end return on each one. So we've got 12 steps in total. One of them is slightly shorter where the newel post is. So the rest of them have got this sort of three-sided nosing with a return on the edge. So hopefully those are going to go on the end of each. Now, because we've used off-the-shelf mouldings, this is windowsill, this is shiplap stock, so it's not going to match up exactly, so there's going to be a fair bit of filling and sanding, and that's what lies in wait for us this evening. You can tell our kids are grown up with DIY. Their bedroom is just there and they're fast asleep. We're hammering away. So I've got about five of the treads in now, and they're okay. They're, like I mentioned earlier, the shaping and stuff isn't quite up there. So a little bit like when we were doing the glue up on the trim, I'm using a bit of a glue combo here. So I need the wood glue for strength, and where I've got two surfaces of wood meeting, especially where it's nice and flat down here, I've used the wood glue. But where there's that kind of rough sawn bit, there's quite a gap there. So that's why I'm using construction adhesive for that bit, kind of the middle bead, and also where these two butt joints are. And then I'm pinning in at the bottom, just with a little tiny panel pin, and that's holding it in place, nice and flat in the middle, and then I can pivot it on that. And then I'm just using two lost head nails. After installing everything, I soon realised that these tread, or the main nose of the treads, actually tapers slightly this way, and it turns out that these used to be curved, I think. because the bottom two are curved on the corners, so I reckon this used to be rounded, so there's going to be a little bit more filling than planned there and kind of shaping to get it really straight. I've used a 2-part body filler, just like you use on cars, and that's going to be really strong and let me shape it. Same as using a 2-part wood filler really. And that way all of this should tie in, especially once it's painted, and should look seamless. You'll notice that there's a little bit of space where these spindles are in. They would have taken, these old Victorian mortises would have taken a 35mm spindle, but there are not as many styles available in 35mm, so I went with these. There's going to be a bit to fill there, and a 35mm would have just been too big for the handrails anyway. Also see on some staircases they have a little decorative scroll here, and that usually is to cover up where there's a bit of a ropey join between the stringer, or the cut string, and the treads. However, in this instance, I don't know what trickery they were playing at 120 years ago when this was built, but these miters are absolutely perfect. They were varnished before, so I could see that there was never a trim here, and this is just really clean and crisp, and we haven't got much depth here to play with anyway, so I don't think I'm going to need to do that. I'm going to leave it as it is, quite simple. We'll have a bit of a trim along the bottom here before I build in the storage below. So there you go, one step closer. These spindles we'll cover in the next video. I'm just putting that video together now. The top floor is done, sorry, well, the first floor landing is done. These are just slotted in, screwed in, so they're not going anywhere, but they're not permanent. They were just there for safety. So they'll all come out, we'll finish the treads, and then we can look at installing this final run here. But things are really coming together now, so probably, like I said in the last video, another video to do to wrap it up. And then we can look at hopefully getting in some carpet on the landing, sorting out a stair runner to go up here, and hopefully having things wrapped up before Christmas. If you've enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. There's plenty more videos coming this week. I'm going to have a little bit of a push to get them out now. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, you can do so by clicking down on the link below. There's a bell symbol there, click that and you get a little notification every time we put a video up. So thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.